All right, we're live. So it says. I don't know because I have no way to monitor it. Okay, that was John. Okay, let's see what we got going here.
Let me get my laptop and we'll get more shit.
Yeah, we're live. All right, it'll be just a second before we have a way to monitor the chat. So if you're chatting something, it'll be a minute before I get back to you. What's going to happen today is I'm going to put a couple coats of silkspan on this thing, and a couple coats of dope, and then the tissue. So, what do we got going here? We need the ball driver. Yeah, work is kind of slow, so this needs to get done. Hopefully, it won't drop the signal like it has in the past. We're trying something different again. Let's see here. We got this one here is this camera, and this one here, so we want to crop and zoom on that one. Crop and zoom. Done.
Tell them, Mark,
Yeah.
it's amazing how you don't even give a phone. I don't even know the phone number, let alone give it out to somebody. We get constant phone calls all day long on it.
Well, I saw Tom Creasy last night stripping his airplane.
He's stripping two of them, I think.
Yep. All right, quick coat of dope. Slather it on. I'm hoping that one coat will be enough. I've sanded quite a bit off.
Better dust it off first.
You got your Windex bottle out here? Yeah.
Yeah, it's laying around here somewhere.
Hang on, guys. We'll get to you in the chat here in just a second if anybody's chatted. This is alcohol. This is cleaner of some type.
That's some kind of that's just straight rubbing alcohol now. I don't know whether it's 70 or 90 or what.
It'll be fine.
Just basically Windex in that other spray bottle. We got more Windex, we can fill it back up. Not scorching. Come on. Live. Hello.
Any chatters?
Nothing yet.
Of course, you know, this is it.
Hey, Sparky and Kevin Allen. Hello, Kevin.
This is an off day. I mean, nobody would expect me to be on today. But there are a lot of retired guys, so. Yeah, I went in this morning and said, what are the chances of me taking today off? We don't have anything going on. Okay, great.
They don't ever have anything if they don't have some kind of deadline.
You gotta turn the volume off on that. But I know the audio's working anyway. That must be Kevin Howling.
That's Kevin Howling.
Let's go, Brandon. You bet. Everybody's happy with him. But I got it sanded down as smooth as a baby bottom, don't I?
Yeah, it's a smooth one.
I've only spent 50 hours sanding it.
Yeah. Well, you would have spent 50 hours sanding the new airframe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's go, Brandon. Well, this thing does put out a nice picture, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's put a coat of dope on it. And then we'll start tissuing. I hope. Okay, explanation one more time. This is still my original half a quart of dope filled with thinner. It went down to here and I filled it back up. I'm going to continue filling this with thinner until the job's done. But it's still just a half a quart of dope.
Yeah, the base materials haven't changed.
Well, I was at 50.35 ounces altogether. So that finish that was originally on it was a 7-ounce finish.
Yeah, that sounds pretty close.
We're going to shoot for a lighter one this time, more sandy.
Well, with no primer, even if you had primer, you'd have a lot of sand in it.
Well, I still got to prime the nose and the canopy. And that spot on the wing. If I get close to my original weight, I'll be happy. I mean, I'd like to have it lighter, but
I've never seen one come out lighter, but I guess it's possible.
Jim Lynch is probably watching. He's probably in his shop sanding. He watches this while he sands.
Yeah, I heard him say something about using the paint system.
Yep.
Which behoove everybody to use that system. And it doesn't really matter what kind of materials that you're using.
It helps to use the right stuff though, because it takes less paint.
Well, I agree, you know, the application of this is for dope. And some of the other systems you might not be able to go as far as you can with this. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're using urethane, you can't do that.
You're just not allowed to use the right amount. You can't keep thinning it.
Right.
And you know, they got it set on percentages that you're allowed to use in it and all that crap. And
Pull that flat back on that side, just enough that I can get in there. Yeah, go ahead, pull that. Yeah. So we're gonna try to shoot clear today?
I don't know. Depends on what this humidity does.
Well, only gonna go up because it's supposed to start raining.
It's a 90% chance today, so I may wait. I may just do some airbrushing. Do my wheel pants or fender skirts or whatever you want to call them, wheel doors. I'm gonna get on the paint job for them, what I'm gonna do with them, but I want to get some color on them. I don't want them just all white.
I'm gonna cut my wheel doors down. They weigh 1.65 ounces apiece.
Yeah, you use 64th inch plywood on both sides of them.
Yep. So, I probably can take at least ounce and a quarter off.
Half of that off of it. Mine don't weigh that.
Because you're special.
No, all I did was I used balsa wood, hard balsa wood, and I think I fiberglassed them. I can't really remember right offhand, but I think I fiberglassed them. They don't weigh that with this big piece of copper wire tied to them. Joe Reinhardt used to solder shim stock, brass shim stock to them, and then glue balsa wood to that shim stock. I said, yeah, they come out really light. We'll see how, but. I don't think Joe would try to lead you wrong. You know, he's a
good builder.
Superb. You know, I got a can of helium over there. You want to mix some helium in that paint?
Yeah. I got no idea. No idea how Billy does it. He got the same amount of wood in his airplanes that I have. The only difference is he has to have lighter wood.
So that's the only way you're going to build lighter. That airplane right there is identical to this airplane, and it's going to be 64 ounces.
Well, you have a disadvantage. PA-75 pipe.
Well, I understand that, yeah. So I'm what? A couple ounces? 4 ounces? So 60 ounces. You're still 4 ounces difference. 3 or 4 or somewhere around in there. It's essentially an identical airplane. Like one built here, one built there, and trust me, you know how I build it. All the wing ribs are all hollowed out as much as I can. The wood's thinner. I actually think I built that airplane out of all 16th inch wood.
This is all 3/32.
So that sort of blows the adage of using thinner wood and saving weight.
Spank out of here?
Yeah, starting to.
Oh.
You're live on air.
Flying test.
Yeah.
Okay, let it dry and then
At
flip
least
it over.
at least you're not Jenny's. What's that god awful smell you guys doing over there in that garage?
I told you, you should have said you're cooking meth.
Sparky said we were painting dope. Probably didn't go over well with her. About like the hobby shop up there. Here you need to brush these out. Got some rhymes. Where they leave it alone.
Yeah, probably not. Here. clips here too. I missed them.
Well, as much sanding as you did on this thing after those coats of dope on, I'm surprised there's anything left on it.
Yeah, but you can see it's starting to shine again.
Yeah. You went down to 600 grit?
Yep. You know, everybody says the prices are going up. It was $7 for 10 sheets. That's 70 cents a sheet. Before it was 5 sheets for $10.
Oh yeah, it's doubled.
No,
No, it's halved.
it's halved. It was 5 sheets for $7 before. Now you get 10 sheets for $7. I don't know if it's a clerical error or what. I don't care. I bought 2 packs.
Well, there's 2 sheets in the pack, right?
10.
And what?
600.
Oh, and the sandpaper.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was on the wrong track. I was thinking silkspan.
Oh, the silkspan's ridiculous. But what are you gonna do?
We're gonna go over there and we're gonna rummage around through there. Factory and see if we can't get a manufacturer's name or something.
They probably won't sell.
Well, they wouldn't give it to us before. We tried that once before.
I'd like to buy a roll of it. A lifetime supply for John and I. You know, probably that.
Yeah.
We had a lifetime supply. It'd be about that long, that big around, and yay long.
Trouble is, they might not sell it to you direct.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'll give it so.
Well, all you gotta do is
Okay.
have a business with a tax number.
I got my tax number, my social security number.
That's the only thing that they need, or they would want. And then you gotta set up an account with them, which is
You'll
nothing.
never use again.
See, I have something that most don't. I have the power of the media. I can make it so difficult on them. You know, with stun hanger.
True.
They'll sell it to me.
I found that most places, if you don't go in there real bold and everything with them, that they'll work with you. You know, even though they aren't supposed to sell to businesses, you know, or whatever, you know, they will work with you. I've had them, you know, make cash sales out to me and stuff like that. I've had them give me stuff. You know, just because they felt sorry for me. Yeah, this guy's
I
out
feel
here
sorry
and
for you too.
They get rid of you.
I'm sort of a sorry looking guy, aren't I? This airplane is that airplane.
Yep. Well, almost. You linked in yours.
Well, I moved the stab back a little bit. I'm at 17 inches.
Makes a difference. That's an extra inch of wood. Gotta wait
It's
some.
just moved back in. It's the same length fuselage. It's just moved back in the fuselage.
That means your airplane's gonna have to be lighter. Well, you got a heavier
I
motor.
got a heavier motor and drivetrain up there.
You see when I had it together sitting on the stand how extremely nose heavy it is?
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, we'll be till you get all that dope on it. All that paint behind the CG. I heard one guy talking about his Cobra that he's making, his little half-A Cobra.
Yeah.
15 or 17 ounces, something like that. It won't do the hourglass, or it won't do the overheads, and it won't do the clover leaf or something. Them guys had better watch it because there's a lot of talk on there about putting 061s and all this stuff in them. Anything bigger than an 051, and it's not half A anymore.
Right. It's A.
It's A. And if it's a half A event, you could very well be disqualified. You know, not allowed to fly. I mean, that'd be a bummer to go a couple 100 miles to a contest and then have them look at you and say, sorry about the luck here, pal. You're not legal.
Nobody's going to go a couple 100 miles to fly half A.
Well, not probably not exclusively, but
I think one coat's going to do it.
you might be right. You might. Well, in essence, you got sort of like 6 coats on it. You know. Albeit you stripped a little bit off and you sanded a little bit off, you still left probably 2 coats of dope in the wood. Then you put 3 on it, so this is 4, so you got 5 coats of dope on it right now.
I mean, it looks shiny, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's see what it does when it dries. Because it's not soaking in as much, you know. So yeah, I got all that stuff down in the wood fibers. And that's thinned probably 60% now.
Not quite.
You were a little less. Well, you're right, because you were a little less than 50% thinned. Because we don't necessarily take an eyedropper and measure exactly. It was a little over half full with unthinned dope, just a smidge. So, yeah. Starting to get a little bit of a white tint to it.
Get the tissue on, it'll be white. In 3 more coats.
I got some touch up I gotta do where it's black, like this USA. Where the yellow was painted underneath of it, and I sanded that black, and the yellow come through the black little lines.
Yeah, you didn't put a clear.
I only had 1 coat of clear on it, and it was like 60% thinner or whatever. I just wanted something to seal the paint, you know. And then put a coat of clear on it, and then do panel lines. So I'm just gonna touch up those few little spots and go with it. And if I notice anything, I'll probably take a magic marker to it. Like everybody does right at the Nats, right?
Well, here's what you gotta get in your mind. It's not gonna be a concourse winner at the Nats. It's just not.
No, it isn't. It's a nice looking airplane.
It's a nice looking airplane, but they want spray shine.
Yep, I'm afraid so.
And what you do is you just go, well, I'm not going to win the concourse, but I want it to weigh this amount and quit painting it.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at how nice that tip came out. I sanded the crap out of the damn thing. I reshaped all this stuff here.
They're tough.
I reshaped all the leading edges and tips on that. And for you guys that were watching the stream and didn't see me reshape them, it's because I didn't reshape them live on camera. Because how much sanding can you guys really take?
Yeah, evidently a bunch. What kind of grit are we using for 600 sandpaper? We're using 600 grit.
3M is what I use.
3M sticky back paper from the auto paint store. Explain spray shine.
Urethane.
Automotive urethane.
Yep. I could paint this airplane. I could sand this airplane with a rock and file it straight with a metal rasp and paint urethane on it, block sand it and polish it, and it'd look beautiful. One or two coats of spray shine.
It'd look an inch thick on there.
It'd look beautiful.
Man. Be pretty.
However,
Pretty heavy.
that's a 16-ounce finish.
You're going to put 4 ounces on for one coat at probably minimum. You can only thin that stuff so much. You can't play with it like that. You can't put it on there 60% thinner. Or what is it they call reducer. That's their thinner.
All you gotta do is figure out, you weigh the cup. If you got 8 ounces of paint,
You're going to have 8 ounces on the airplane.
right, and you put 2 coats, that's 16 ounces. Because most of the guys put 1 coat on, block sand it, and then spray another coat on, a flow coat.
Yeah, or they say a light coat and then a flow coat over top of that. So that's 2 coats.
Yeah. Whatever's in that cup, whatever it weighs, that's what it weighs on the airplane.
Dope, all your thinner gases off. So whatever you put in there in thinner, maybe not all of it gases off, but probably 90% of it does. This airplane's been sitting for so long it doesn't even smell like it's got wet paint on it. I washed it a couple times yesterday. Get it ready.
In all actuality, this needs 2 or 3 top coats on it to make it really, but
It's only got 1 coat clear on it.
right.
And that was 60% thinner.
But every coat is an ounce.
Yeah. And all I want is enough on there to put pan lines on and be able to scratch them off if I need to, because you can't do that on just raw paint.
See, if it was me, I'd just ink line it. Just be careful and eliminate that coat of paint. But just like my Thunderbolt, I'm inking on it.
If there wasn't so much white, I'd be more tempted to do that, you know, because it'll blend in colors and stuff, and you can scrape a little bit more if you make a mistake. But if you make a mistake on white and you got to take alcohol to it, you're screwed if it doesn't have clear on it. I'm thinking about making gray panel lines instead of black. This would be different.
Good luck.
That's what Reinhardt did on their frame, looked beautiful. It was a little military, some kind of military airplane, Mauler or whatever, or something like that they built, and it's pretty. He used dope in his pens.
Is every coat 60% thinner? No.
No, it varies up and down.
Down towards the end, it's 80% or 90% thinner.
It starts off at 50, and then it gets more thinner added to it every time you use it. So it varies, and there's no set amount. I'm not saying that every time you use some, you put exactly 1 ounce of thinner in it or anything like that. You just.
Okay, here's the deal.
Let's
here.
just start that from scratch.
Okay, one more time. I keep explaining this. You take a 1 quart mason jar, fill it halfway full of clear dope. Then you fill it up with thinner. Then you paint on a, that's 50-50. Then you paint on a coat, and now we're down to here. And I was down to here before, and I refilled it with thinner. So, to stick the paper down, I'm not going to refill this. I'm just going to go with this mixture. And as this, when it gets back down here, I'll fill it back up again. So it's 25, it's 75-25.
Yeah. By the time you're putting the top coats on the paper, you're using 75% thinner.
It doesn't matter how many fluid ounces of paint I'm putting on, I'm still only using 1 quart of dope.
For the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's top coats, that's everything.
Yeah. It gets another half a quart of the crystal clear.
We're gonna before today's out, we're gonna go over this ABC. I'm gonna get out some jars. We'll fill water in them or whatever, and just show exactly what we're doing. That way they can see. In fact, I'll go ahead and get set up to do that.
It's really, I'm asked over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, this will be on refinish number 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or.
You don't have to use mason jars. You can use them 2 jars right there.
Yeah, it probably doesn't make any difference, but it won't hurt a mason jar. We'll use exactly what we're using, and that way there's no excuses. No excuses. I need 2 of them.
Yeah, fill 1 jar and then pour half of it.
I'm gonna show them exactly. I get this set up ready, and then
I'll turn the camera on you and hold it.
I'll do it from over on that side. So.
Okay, John's going to do a demo on my paint system on how to mix the dope. It's real simple. Okay, let me turn auto director off. Auto director off. Okay, back to this. We're on this camera here. Okay.
Okay, here we are. 2 mason jars. 2 1-quart mason jars. This quart is filled with unthinned clear dope. No thinner in this. It's all the way full. Unthinned clear dope. Okay, so now we're going to divide this. I'll take half this, pour it into this jar.
Chemistry.
That looks about right. 2 half quarts of unthinned dope. All right. One of these quarts we're going to fill all the way to the top with thinner. And we're going to set that aside.
And write on it top coat.
Top coat. This will be after all your colors and everything are on. This will be what you use. Make sure it's crystal clear.
Well, they can use tinted clear, don't matter.
now that leaves you with this. This is a half quart of unthinned. We're going to fill it all the way to the top with thinner. So pretend like this is full all the way to the top with thinner. Then we're going to take I just got this little dipper, but this isn't quite a tablespoon. So we'll put about 3 of these, maybe 4 of white dope. White's the best for your base color. And add to that. And then shake this up real good. So now you're going to have a full quart of thinned, tinted white clear. So it's thinned 50% and it's tinted with your white dope. Now you don't add any more dope to it. Now you put 3 coats of dope on your bare wood out of this jar and let it dry in between coats, lightly sand. And then come through the sand real good after the 3rd coat. Then you're going to be down to about here probably. From the neck up here down to about here, it's going to be down there. Then you're going to fill that back full with thinner. All the way to the top. Fill it back full with thinner. Shake it up real good. Then you're going to apply your silkspan. You're going to put a light coat of dope on airplane, put your silkspan on, and then you're going to take 3 coats of this and put it on the silkspan. Now when you're brushing, don't brush every coat in the same direction. Brush 1 coat front to back, 1 coat left to right, 1 coat diagonal. You're going to want at least 3 coats of this on that airplane. And then you can see where you're at, because you might use almost all this on those 3 brushed on coats, but hopefully you didn't. If you do think you're getting low and it looks like you're low, before you put on that 3rd coat, go ahead and add some thinner to it. You don't have to fill it all the way back to the top, but just add some thinner to it until you got enough to make sure you get 3 good coats and it's filling all the weave. If it's going to take 4 coats, then put in more thinner. All this is just adding thinner. No more dope, no more nothing. So now you've used all of this. Say it's empty, basically.
Let me interject. If you don't have to use it all, don't.
Right. A 35 size plane is not going to take as much paint as this 60 size plane. Simple fact. It changes cameras. It's just a smaller airframe, so you're not it's the amount of surface area. If you got 3 coats on there, it's 3 coats. Don't put 3 coats and then another coat on just half the airplane. So then you get your color coats. Now your color coats, you only get 1 pint. That's all your colors, or half a pint. That's all your colors combined. So if you got 5 colors, it's not a lot of dope. So that's where your airbrush comes in. A little jar like this I had paint left over doing all the red on this airplane. I had a little jar like this. This whole bottom of this airplane's black checkerboards. I had a little jar like this. It did all the checkerboards on the bottom of this airplane. And that's thinned dope, at least 50% thinner. But that's all the color you get. Then you can come back to this quart, thinned, filled all the way to the top. Remember, this was half thinner, half dope, half thinner. This starts your top coats. So you spray 1 coat of this directly onto your airplane. Now, if you're going to do panel lines, now's the time to do your panel lines after that coat of clear. Then you got the remainder of this to go. So at that point, you want to spray just a mist coat on your panel lines just to sort of seal them down so they don't run. And that's just a real dry coat. You can do that with an airbrush. You can run through there and just put a coat or 2 over all the panel lines. It'll be fine. Don't worry about looking a little different at first. You'll never see it in the end.
It changed again. It's not supposed to change. Why is that changing?
So now you got your ink lines on, you got one coat of clear, you got your ink lines on, and you're sitting here with about 2/3 of a quart of dough. And you've got your panel lines sealed down with your airbrush and a little bit of dough. Now you can fill this back full with thinner. Now you're going to start spraying your whole top coats. You can just spray them like you normally would a regular coat of dough and start using this up. And you want probably, you just have to sort of look at it and watch it. And it'll tell you when you got enough on there. You know, you'll see it building up and everything. And remember, like a 35 size airplane, you probably don't need this much. You know, probably use a quarter. Probably at least a quarter less than what we're using on one of these big
35 size airplane, you can probably do a 4-ounce finish.
Yeah. But it goes by coats. It doesn't go by ounces or anything like that. It's however much paint it takes to make a coat on the whole airplane. Every single part of it. The cowling, the wheel pans, the whole shebang.
Where's my tissue?
So that's exactly what it takes to do a 6-ounce finish on a 700 square inch airplane. Give me a minute, dump that in there. Sink real quick. Dry out.
That's odd that auto director didn't shut off. Oh well. Yeah, we'll turn it back on and turn it this way. We're going to start tissuing now.
All this new fangled equipment.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. All right, this is the lightest tissue Brodak sells, Brodak Light Silkspan. Put a layer of glue on the wingtip to help soak on the tip. Apply a single coat of 3070 dope thinner. 3 coats of 40 dope 30 or 60 thinner to seal the silkspan. You may have to apply a single coat of silk 60% dope and 40% thinner as the last clear coat. God, I hope not.
Yeah, one of the big things to always remember that too, when you're doping these things and you're using a brush, never put 2 coats on in the same direction. You know what it'll do is it'll leave brush strokes in it and you'll start getting this build up of these little ridges, and they're really, really hard to get out of there, especially on open bays. So you're brushing dope, the thinner it is, really, the better you are. It flows. I know back when I was a kid, I used dope straight out of the can. I don't think I knew what thinner was.
Okay, we need razor blades. Yeah, we can cut it with scissors. We'll take the flap off.
My good scissors up there. You're gonna, it'll take, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It takes 7 sheets if you don't. Sometimes I've been trying to get one wing panel out of a sheet.
I only got 6 sheets, so if it takes 7, I'm in trouble.
you can do it, but it's going to be tight right on this edge right here. Just cut these down the middle, and this will get one wing. Is that all right with you?
That's fine.
My back right now.
I'll have to go down and get me a soda.
Remember to put your silk span on the long way of the silk span with the long way of the wing. And it doesn't matter whether it's a fuselage or the stab in the elevator, you always want to put it on the same. So if you got a little piece left over.
So that's one wing right there.
Yeah. So there we can get by with 2 sheets to do the wing. Well, if you made that cord any bigger, you'd been screwed on that. There's hardly enough to even pull on it.
Need to angle this cut here. We need your good scissors. As long as you're going down there, grab me a soda, please. Okay. I'll have to wait till I get the good scissors. I need to cut a straighter line. It's like, whoop. But I'll get this all covered today, and we start doping and sanding and doping and sanding and sanding and sanding and doping and sanding and sanding and sanding and more sanding and doping. I mean, that's just the way it is. Thank you. Hold on to that end. This is hard to do. I don't think I got it. Matter of fact, I know I didn't get it. Try again. Still screwed up. You can't do it on a like this.
You just try it like this, give you a line to cut by.
There you go, cut that one.
You got about 10 inches on the end that
Yeah, I
you
got
can get the rudder or whatever out of.
There's plenty. Okay, we got it. That's good. Now it's just a matter of doping it down.
You're gonna wet it.
Yeah. I need to get it stuck down here at first though.
towards the front. Come on up higher, 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 there. Okay, now go that way a little bit. You'll re-wet this and pull this corner out here. Now with the dope, let it glue itself down a little bit.
Ah. Let's see. Any questions, ask them now. It's hard for me to answer the questions when I'm in my apartment not doing the job. So, did you have a razor blade out here? X-Acto knife, whatever. You gotta split this corner. I got a wrinkle going on here I can't get out. Damn. There we go.
Got some somewhere here.
Now the tip.
Here's a blade right here. Fresh.
So that's good for what? 2 cuts?
Yeah, but you know what I have found that does help?
Wipe it with thinner?
Yep. Yep, exactly.
How would I know that?
I don't know. Maybe you had your head thumped on a couple times about it.
going on there.
You just push down on it. Now this part where he's taking his fingers and he's rubbing on that really helps. That forces that dope through that tissue, and that coat that he put on here right before we put the tissue on, you let that sort of tack up and dry where it's sort of dry to the touch. And then when you put this coat on top of it, it goes through and it eats up on the lacquer thinner, eats into this bottom coat, which is your glue. And rubbing that in there assures that top coat goes through that tissue paper. This process right here is really pretty rough. It's all about getting wrinkles out. Silkspan does not shrink. When you wet it, it loosens up the fibers, and then when it dries, it goes back to its original size. The whole point in wetting it is to make it relax. Then you pull it taut to get the wrinkles out, and then when it dries, it goes back to its original size, which means it's tighter than just laying on the surface.
Well, that's how you do it. I try to go at least halfway of the leading edge and the trailing edge, at least halfway. Usually on the trailing edge I go all the way to the top, and then when you do the top you go all the way to the bottom, and that gives you double covering on the trailing edge.
You want an overlap is what he's getting at in the leading and trailing edges. Now right now at this point, if you do have any wrinkles in it, now's the time to address them before this dries, because once it dries it's hard to get it back up. I'm not saying you can't, but sometimes you can re-wet it real good and get it soaking wet with dough. And you can get pull up and get any slight wrinkles you might have out of it, but
Not carrying the paper.
well, that's just a touch. That's a feel thing. If you're ripping the paper, don't pull so hard.
Yeah.
If you think this stuff's hard and this is lightweight, if you think it's hard, try Japanese tissue.
Yeah.
That'll make a believer out of you. Now you're not going to put any more dope on this now until you get all this tissue paper on there. You're only going to do the outside edges until you get all the tissue paper on it.
Oh. Okay, I guess we can do that other way. think I'll forego putting any dope on the center section until we wet it out. Just wet it out. Did I get enough on there?
Need a little bit right here. There you go. Now this is where you're getting all your wrinkles out of it.
And you won't get real good at it until the last panel.
Yeah. And then you wait a year.
Yeah.
You get to come back and try it again.
Okay, well that looks pretty good. Start putting some dope on it. See what the boys are saying. You just make it look easy to do. It looks so good. Well, it's not hard.
Really a pretty, I mean, that's on there pretty good. It doesn't have a lick of dope on it yet. And there's hardly any, I mean, there's some wrinkles out here at the wingtip, which you're going to do that last anyway. So that's just staying wet. You don't want to curl this up on the fuselage side here in the fillet area either. You just want to butt it too, but don't
Pull that wrinkle out.
overlap it.
Oh, now we got one there.
Little teeny minor wrinkles they'll come out with it when it shrinks. Some of these little spots on this, when you're over the wood, you might get a little sort of overlapping wrinkle. If you just work it with your finger a little bit, you normally get it out of there.
We got a problem here. Look how wrinkled that is. I'm gonna have to take up. Nope, not from that end, from this end. Why is it being difficult?
It needs to go to the front. pull it. It needs to shift back that way.
Oh, God.
That's not hurt anything.
About ready to start with a new piece.
There, I got her.
Nope.
I'm not seeing it from this side.
It's all, if you look here, it's,
Oh, that'll come out of there.
yeah, it'll come out right now.
Just have to work back into that edge. Well, you can see the white paint in there. Gets on your fingers.
Oh.
Don't panic if you rip a little piece off of it. Just go on, fix it as dope it down, whatever. When you come back through here, you can put a little patch on it. Won't hurt a thing.
Still got a little bit of, it might come out.
That'll all come out of there. Can't get every single little one of them out.
Okay.
One thing you'll find after you do this for a while, you'll find that certain wingtips don't cover worth of crap. Some of them you can just go through and just throw them on there and no wrinkles and no nothing and be perfect. And other shaped wingtips will just want to screw around with you.
So that's when you build wingtips that cover good.
Yeah, that's when you start modifying things.
Gotta be able to pull this. Cut.
We don't use anything but butyrate dope. We don't ever use nitrate. Use the KISS theory. Keep that in mind. Keep it simple. You can put butyrate over nitrate, but you can't put nitrate over butyrate. So why not just leave the nitrate out of the picture and then you can use it any which way you want to. It sticks down just as good. Use nitrate on full-size airplanes.
For sticking canvas to metal.
Gluing stuff down. You don't need that strong of a glue. And not to mention the fact that nitrate is not fuel resistant or fuel proof or anything.
And if you're going to use a nitrate system, you got to have different thinners.
Yeah.
It's a royal pain in the butt.
You can screw up if you just use a paintbrush that was used on nitrate and you stick it in butyrate and try to paint with it, you could have all sorts of problems. Or a spray gun that's contaminated, or
Well, I'm going to have a problem with this tip. Why did it rub it down when I pull it tight? Better. Rub it on the head there. Should be all right.
I'd smoothie a little glue on there, a little dip on there, and rub that a little bit. You might not. I can see in one direction. I can't see in the other direction. You know what I mean? Because of your candle in that light. I don't know what you're able to see.
It'll be fine. I'm worried about that wrinkle there, but it should come out.
Don't panic.
Yeah. Hand me the knife over there. Yeah, don't panic. Everything will be fine eventually.
Yes, there are two types of dope. Again, without using anything but butyrate dope. It's plenty strong enough to stick tissue down with. I've only been using just that one stuff for 40 plus years. See what he's doing here? He's ripping that covering off the front edge. He's not cutting it. The reason for that is it'll blend in better. If you cut that, it'll create a hard line. You don't want a hard line there. You might be able to get away with a hard line back here on trailing edge, where you might take a little piece of sandpaper and sand that until that falls off there. Or you can cut it either way, but you can't, the leading edge, you want it to blend in real easy, and a torn surface blends in better than a cut surface. Same way when you're doing a patch on an airplane, don't cut the patch, tear it. And put your patch on, your little torn piece of the patch on, and you'll find that it'll sand out and blend in a lot easier than a square sharp edge patch does.
Okay, let's
Some of you old timers, probably this is all old news to you guys. But these wheel doors, just let all that shrink up and dry off and everything, and then the ends you'll just cut an X in here and fold them edges down in there, and then you'll be done with them. Just gonna cover everything holes. I take it that's what you did before.
what?
Cover everything holes.
What holes?
And adjustment holes.
Oh yeah.
V-tray tape is the best, he says. Well,
It's fuel proof.
it's fuel resistant. It's been used for
150 years.
forever. It's used on full-size airplanes, so has its benefits. The thing about dope is just it's sort of a lacquer.
It's plastic.
It's film. Originally, when they made this stuff, they took cellulose film, which was like 100 millimeter film or whatever, in a canister, and they melted it in thinner acetone or however they did it back then, and it made a thick slurry, which was a plastic, a melted plastic. And so basically that's what it is. It's sort of a melted plastic. That's sort of a rudimentary explanation of it, but the tissue paper is only a carrier for the paint. I mean, if you could put that dope on there without tissue paper, you could save the weight of the tissue paper. That's just a carrier for that, so it'll go over open surfaces and stuff.
And the tissue paper doesn't offer any strength. It just holds the dope. You're not supposed to be throwing your airplane around or let people with long fingernails poke and test. Is it? I've had people look.
Yeah, I've had them do that, or have something fall out of their top pocket and go right through your wing. If you're flying in a grassy area that has a lot of sticks and stuff, it might not be a good idea to use tissue paper. You know, a lot of guys, I don't know whether they just handle their airplanes real rough or whatever, they're always having holes punched in them and whatnot.
You use polyspan, you're going to give up 2 ounces.
Yeah.
Minimum. If you're a beginner, or, you know, and you fly in the grass or someplace that has sticks and debris and stuff, polyspan's like, okay. I mean, I used it a few times. I thought it was the greatest stuff when I first started using it, but after you figure, well, shit, I'm giving up all this weight.
You could move up to medium weight silkspan. This is lightweight silkspan now. He's going for a full tilt stunt boogie airplane. Lightweight, as lightweight as he can get. If you're a beginner or intermediate flyer, you might want to use medium weight. I've never ever used heavyweight. Ever. Medium weight's okay. For wings, for open bay wing areas, don't use it on the whole airplane. Go switch down. You're only using this stuff on there on solid wood surfaces to replace the primer.
To block the grain.
Yeah, to fill the grain, to span the low spots and the high spots and low spots and all that stuff, to make it nice. It's sort of acting as a primer.
Japanese tissue is the best, but you can't get it. I don't recommend that stuff from England that I got.
You can't get it anyway, so.
That stuff was $15 a sheet, and it didn't really.
And it's hard to put on.
Yeah, it's hard to put on.
Not harder than this
It offers no stretch, zero.
This right here is basic, like I was saying before, this right here is basically lacquer paint. The easiest painting system, absolutely, that you could ever use. The most forgiving. I got the tail up here. The absolute most forgiving paint job that you could ever put on an airplane, Coach Jimmy.
Okay, some dope on it. We'll turn it over. Oh, I didn't get it all. No.
It's got a straggler.
What we got going on there? Looks like the paper's coming up. It ain't though. Okay, flip it over. Let's do the top.
God, it feels like it wants to fly already.
Yeah. Crop and zoom. Let's crop and zoom out. Done. There we go. Okay, N7118X. One more time. Nitrate dope is to stick the canvas down to a metal airframe. It's really not for wood. It's used in real aircraft. We're going to do this side next. The reason being is that's the last side, that's the outboard side up top. So I'll be practiced up by then. So
there's an inside and an outside to this paper. If you look at it real close, one side's sort of shiny and the other side's look dull. Shiny side goes out. The length of the silk span always goes lengthwise off the roll to the lengthwise on your airplane wing. Always. It's got a grain running to it. Grain runs the long way. Always, if you put it on the other way, you will have a problem. And it'll manifest itself in the essence of between each wing rib, it'll want to just sag big time.
how many we got watching? I can't tell. 13. Says we started 4 minutes ago, but I don't believe that.
You can hit escape and it'll go back to this picture, which will be sort of a side-by-side thingy.
I like that better.
I sort of like the way that held down better when you did a real light strip of dope down through here.
Yeah. We can do that. I've done it all kinds of ways.
Yeah, there's no wrong way really. Get it on there, try to get a 99% of the wrinkles out of it if you can. I don't like handed stuff to you across the airplane.
I think we'll get it all finished today.
Yeah.
That way I can take it back, put it together, and see what it weighs. See what I got left for paint. That worked.
Don't panic if it starts drying out a little bit on you. Spoochie a little bit more water on it. If it's stuck down, you can either take clear thinner or just whatever you're using to stick it down with right now. And smoothie a little bit on there and slowly, gently pull it up.
We're ready to fly tonight.
like your positive attitude.
Well, I could fly it. Get the dope on it.
I suppose you could. You used to put this stuff down here with banana oil. Back in the 30s.
It's too loose here. Get some dope on this trailing edge so it sticks.
You pull the front.
Pull the front, huh?
Yeah, because it's working back this way, so you're angling back this way, so you gotta pull that way. At least I'm candling it from this angle. You might not be able to see it from over there. There you go. I got it now there. Now what you got is you got this little bit right in here. There you go. That's dope.
There's a little bit there. See it?
Yeah, I see it. Getting worse. This guy will be pulled that way.
got a big problem over here.
Where?
It's all wrinkled up over here. So I'll leave behind it. There we go.
So I could not see that at all from over here. Boy, it pays to have good lighting then. We don't have the best lighting in here right now. I really prefer to do this outside if I can do it outside.
Yeah.
Get in natural light, you can really see everything. Just keep playing with it. Take your time and keep playing with it. Try not to rip it.
Settle for nothing less than perfect.
I saw an airplane covered with monocoat that was appalling the other day.
There's plenty of them.
It looked like you took a brown paper bag and smashed it up and laid it on top and glued it down like that and didn't even try to get any wrinkles out of it or nothing. It was appalling. I'm sorry. I know for beginners and stuff like that, but there's no. I did better than that when I was 10 years old.
There's plenty of people to help you. There's plenty of information on the net. I mean, I put out, this is my 400th live stream today.
Really?
Yep.
Lightweight silk span. Lightweight silk span.
Double lock. Free flight silk span.
If you go by SIG, you got SIG.
K&S silk span is the best, but you can't get
Yeah,
it.
you can't get it. Wait a minute.
You got an old roll of K&S silk span, use it. It doesn't go bad.
Let's see, you had classifications for silk span for SIG. You had GM, which meant gas models, which is sort of a heavyweight silk span, and then you had, I can't remember what it was. It's been so long since I've used any of that. Or had any SIG silk span. They had their own little method, but it was basically light, medium, and heavy. We don't ever use anything over medium. Don't ever use heavy.
Have me scissors. You get so much paper on the end, you can't manipulate it.
You can always use this on other places on the airplane. You don't get dope all over it.
Okay, you're gonna need your finger again. rub it while I. Get some dope on there. Okay. A little bit of, that should be all right.
Yeah, because that's nothing. That's still soaking wet. Still got puddles of water on it.
Okay.
Can't sit here and say silkspan is the best.
What's that?
Yeah, so silkspan's the best.
No, that's what I use, but
It's what we use. You know, we can't sit here and say that, yeah, that's the ultimate or anything like that. It's
the best person in covering that I've ever seen is Jerry Phelps.
yeah, Jerry was good.
He covered with Japanese tissue, and you could only get a 24-inch sheet. They didn't make, you know, it's 18 by 24. So this is 30 inches or 28 inches you got to have here. How did he do it without a seam? I have no clue. I don't even have a clue how he got it on there, to be honest with you. Of course, Billy's pretty good too. I mean, all them old timers. It takes a lot of practice to do this and do it well.
And there's only one way to learn. That's to do it. And yeah, you'll get frustrated, and yeah, it won't seem like it's working for you, and this and that, and then it'll click.
Every airplane gets better and better.
Yeah, strive to make it better. Take your time. You're not in a big rush here, although this isn't really a takes a little patience. Now this could actually dry, and if you hadn't trimmed all the edges off of it, and if you had some small little areas, you could literally take some thinner and brush on them little areas and work them a little bit and maybe get half of that back out of it again if you had a little minor thing. But the best thing to do is when it's wet is to get as many wrinkles out of it as you can when it's wet before you even touch it with any dope.
Hand me the knife.
And then and only then you start doping it down and just work a little bit at a time, like the little blob right here, and just make it stick, and then pull this trailing edge and do a little bit back here and make it stick, and then come up here and do a little bit and make it stick.
Move it back.
I don't know. I'm pretty lackadaisical about covering them when it comes time to cover them. I'm pretty much rush through it, and I got that dope all over my hands from my elbows down to my fingertips. I mean, some people like monocoat. More power to them if that's what they like. I don't care for the stuff. I think it makes it look like a toy.
Well, I asked them guys at Top Flight, and they asked me how much my finish weighed, and I told them 6 ounces. They said they couldn't match it.
Probably not with monocoat. I've tried 5 or 6 Coverite, monocoat, Tonocoat. Tonocoat sucked. That stuff was like covering your airplane with rubber.
So now you guys can see. I think that you guys are great help. I've been learning a lot from you, and I've been building a flying RC for over 40 years.
Monocoat's easy. It doesn't stink. You don't have any cleanup or anything to do. Really no mess except your trimmings. Yeah, I don't know what to say outside of that. I don't like monocoat. If you crash your airplane, it's already pre-bagged, so
Yeah.
you can just pick up the baggie and carry the pieces out.
There are some guys that do a pretty nice job with monocoat. Bruce Jennings.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them out there. Byron Barker used to do halfway decent finishes where he would monocoat the wings and then paint the fuselage with
Krylon.
Krylon or Rust-Oleum or something.
Okay.
He came out with some pretty nice stuff, but
Let's see. Imperfect is the way you seem to always do it, whatever that is.
no, perfect, not imperfect. Imperfect is
The opposite of perfect.
it's opposite. That means you
You
do a
screwed
lot of
up.
falls.
My dad would come out there and put his hands on his hips and say, Robert, it's got to be perfect.
And my dad was a finished carpenter, and he was a perfectionist, and my mom did antique furniture and stuff like that, and she was pretty much a perfectionist, and it was sort of, there's one way to do it, boy. Do it right. Or don't do it at all.
Yeah, why bother?
You just wasted your time if you don't do it right.
I'm really going to like these tips when I get them sanded and they turn out nice after refinishing them. I don't have any starved horse. Not much.
There's not much. There's some in it. There was some in it before.
Yeah. No worse than it was.
No. Well, you built the thing out of 3/32 inch wood, so
I'd have built it out of 1/8 if it was light enough.
if it was 16th, you've never gotten away with what you've done. It would have been starved horse everywhere, and you probably had punched a couple more holes through it. You know, that is the problem. You know, they got everybody saying this stuff. Well, just use lighter weight wood, you know, thinner wood and stuff. Well, listen.
Heavier
You
wood,
build-
lighter weight.
You build a big airplane with 16th inch wood and try to handle it just as you're building it. And you'll be dinging it and denting it and punching holes in it and everything else. It's not just but joining 2 pieces of 16th opposed to 2 pieces of 3/32 is like night and day. It's so much easier. You got sanding rim. 16th inch, you don't have any. There's no sanding rim.
Yeah, let's go up with this and then point it down. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Not on the other camera here. There we go. All right, we should be able to see what we're doing here. Yep. With the laminate, you can get in a roll that's 32 inches wide and about 500 foot long for 35 bucks. Miller time, yeah. I don't know what the laminate you're talking about is.
Fast cow or something like that. You doing combat planes?
Whatever it is, I don't want to do it.
Like a giant roll of tape. Been used for many years. I got Pascal down in the basement, a little bit of it left.
Now Steve, what the hell was what's his last name? They come from Texas. Steve and Doug Moon. That's it.
Moon brothers.
They had some kit noblers they were doing. And they had some type of covering on there that was a plastic.
That was that stuff from Phil Carty, I think, sold that stuff for a while, a combat guy. It was paintable plastic.
Yeah.
And it actually worked pretty good.
Looks like it would. See, part of the problem where you get your weight is the dope sinking into the wood.
What do you call that stuff? SLC or something like that? Super light covering. Can't remember. But it was etched like. I can't say it was actually had something on it, but it was etched plastic or something. And so the paint had something to stick to. So remember, guys, this is one way of doing it. There's other ways of doing it. You sort of develop your own. It's the basic way that you do things. It works. If I was sitting here covering my airplane by myself, I'd be doing exactly the same thing we're doing right now. Wouldn't be doing anything any different. This is just, you gotta do it like this. You gotta put it down, wet it, stretch out the wrinkles. If it starts drying out, squeegee it with some more water. The biggest thing is to get all your wrinkles out right now, or 90% of them. You can get them out right now. And this is where it's easiest. It's not stuck down. It's only stuck down by molecular water.
Well, can't do that. It's starting to tear it. Shit.
More dope on.
I'd like to get through an airplane without having a patch.
Never done it. I've never done it. I'd rather not have it happen over an open bay, but
I can't get it. Where's the knife?
over there.
There's no dope on it, trailing. There's no dope anywhere except for the root. That won't really matter, that wrinkle there, sand it out.
About that, the wrinkles in the open bay is what you gotta worry about. Of course you know that.
Yeah, I know that. Dope for trailing is there.
See, and we sit here and talk to each other, and we're talking to a nail head in the wall. Because we repeat the same thing back and forth to each other, and it's.
Let's see what anybody says here. It says, like, we're watching you two. I think I'll be going with silkspan. Well, good luck. It's not hard.
It's not as expensive as monocoat if you mess up. You can rip it off and it costs you $3 for a piece of paper, you know. You mess up real bad, just get you a jar of thinner,
Strip it off.
run around through there and soak it all down with thinner and strip it off and throw you another piece on there.
Where's the scissors to get one?
It says that laminate's what they laminate your driver's license with.
Oh,
Treated
no.
material.
Too heavy.
It's like monocoat.
Too heavy.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty thick, pretty heavy. to have a stuff that combat guys used called Fast Cow. And it was like a 24-inch wide roll of Scotch tape.
I need your finger.
And it didn't heat shrink real well, but it did to some extent. So you cover your airplanes with that, and combat guys did it because it was tough.
Huh? Yeah. It happens. Ta-da! I don't know how long we've been on, but that's how long it takes to cover a wing.
So I have one of those members that doesn't mean the film.
Do what?
It's a Geeski nibbler. I find cans of film and covered it. It looks like it was silkspan and applied 3 thin out surface to seal. Yeah, you added another layer to it.
What do you do?
Had one of the Moon Brothers Geeski nobblers with the plastic on it, and they covered it with silkspan and then doped it, which I don't know, double covering, but I don't know that you really needed to put the silkspan on there, but it may have been easier to put dope on with the silkspan on like that. But I thought that stuff was pretty much ready. It was etched plastic.
Who was that had the Giski Nobler?
W71 18X or 18K. N71 18.
Looked like a pretty good setup.
It was nice. I think Phil Cartier, if I remember right, was the guy that came up with that stuff. Or
I looked at him real close in the 180 building. But I'm not going to buy something like that, you know. It's not for me.
well, if there's a boom rule, it's really not boom compliant. The boom rule says that you got to put the finish on the airplane, and that means from bare wood up. The way I interpret it.
The way I interpret it is you got to build your damn airplane.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see too. A kit is classified as a bunch of pre-cut parts put in a box, and there's about 500 part count, and you got to put all the parts together and finish it. I'd make one exception: foam wings. If the foam wings are already sheeted, that's about as far as it goes in my eyes, as far as any prefabrication goes. I don't want to see something coming out of a mold with primer on it, or the paint or the base paint already on it.
Oh, you mean like Ukraine?
You glue 4 major components together and call it legit. Nah, that's not legit.
Times it get to be.
12:30.
Yeah, we I got a little bit. What time are we going to lunch?
Whenever.
They come out okay?
Yeah, looks great.
This ain't bad either. I mean, it's gonna have a little bump there, but I'm not gonna do any putting this spot here.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Colored dope. All colored dope. Everything's dope. Don't ever switch. Don't change thinners. Don't change brands. Don't change types. Colored dope is nothing more than colored clear dope. It's got pigment in it. It's the same stuff. Don't worry about any little edges sticking up. You'll wipe them down and get them down when you start putting your top coats on. You do want to do some more around the edges a little bit to help glue the around the perimeter down. Just put it on there, rub it down a little bit, or use the brush to rub it down or whatever.
Well, you have guys now have seen me cover another model. There's, like I say, this is my 400th live stream. And if you go back and look at my channel and look through, I know I don't have them categorized or whatever. You guys got to do some work for yourselves. There's all kind of stuff in there. In the Monado series and Thunderbolt series and the Nobler series.
Yeah, you used to be able to get all sorts of dope, all different colors. Normally it was either SIG or Practica or Testers or a bunch of different. This is what we use.
Here on this one.
This is what we use here is Randolph.
You're way out of camera view.
This is what we use, Randolph. Comes from Wix. You can get one of these. All you got to do is call them up and ask them for a paint color chart, and they'll send you one of these chip charts. They're pretty close on the colors, the actual colors that you get. So pretty good. They're limited though. They only got a certain amount of colors. A few more written colors on the back, which are basically derivatives of what's already in here. Or they are these with stock.
Or you can mix your own colors.
Or you can take, any variety of these, start mixing them up and come up with something. But these are free. Call them up, they'll mail you one. You're still pretty limited on colors, really. I mean, there's some things that the guys have been doing here in the past 15, 20 years. I mean, they've been doing this, and I don't know enough to talk about it too much. Outside of the very basics of what they did.
Take clear dope, mix pigment with it.
Yeah, they go to the auto parts store and they get the pigment only of automotive colors, and they mix that with clear dope, and then thin that and paint their airplanes with it. Now, I'm not going any further than that. I'm not going to say that that'll work for you, it won't work for you, or whatever. Because if they put something in there, if they put a binder in there or something like that, it might just all curdle up on you. And then that pigment that you just paid $150 for a half a pint might be trash.
You want to know about that? Call Bob Brookins. Yes, we add color to the clear dope for this white. By the time I get all the dope out, see how white this is becoming? Yeah. It'll be white.
Like I said, but we said this before. Watch this in recording. This little scoop right here, it's about a tablespoon. Put about 3 of those in a whole quart of thin dope. Put 3 scoops of that of white paint, white dope. And then you end up with this, which is tinted white dope. You can see through it.
White clear, or
yeah,
white clear.
Tinted clear. It's tinted. It's not opaque. By the time you get 6 coats of that, 3 on bare wood, 3 on top of this tissue, this airplane will be almost white. White.
It'll take 2 ounces of white dope, 1 coat, to paint the thing. That's why when John said, when I turned him on to my painting system, he said, it takes a quart, or it takes a quart and a half of white. What? I couldn't believe it.
Well, it was if you're using Brodeck dope or Sig dope.
Right.
Because their white doesn't have as much pigment in it. You start using Randolph from Wix. It's got pigment in it. It definitely got pigment in it. You won't see any of this through it. You won't see none of this stuff through it. I mean, some guys will paint silver, their plain silver, and that's to make it all one color, to cover all these grain lines and fillets and all that stuff.
Silver is the worst thing you can do. 2 reasons. 1, it's real metal. It's heavy. 2, it's poor adhesion. You pull up the tape and you pull up the paint all the way down to the silver.
Yeah, I've always had that problem. You can't get away from it. You still do it with this system to some extent, just not nearly as bad.
That tip wrinkles coming out?
Yeah, it's starting to. Might have to take a heat gun to it a little bit, maybe.
This one come out good.
Let it dry completely and then let it boil. That's the first, no, that's the third side we did it.
Yeah, we got a little wrinkle here. Hopefully it'll come out.
It's still wet. Wait until after lunch before you start putting any top coat on it.
I'm going to get the rest of it papered before I put any top coat on it.
Right.
You feel how that? You won't be able to
Blended
tell.
out pretty good, didn't it?
Yep. Thanks, Jerry.
That cost him about 50 hours of work.
I know he felt bad.
Oh God, it's heart crushing. You know, you damage a guy's airplane. That's like you borrow a guy's airplane. Hey, fly my airplane. Fly my airplane. You gotta fly it and it crashes. And it's like, well, God, man, I didn't want to crash your airplane. You didn't mean to.
You weren't in Memphis when John Sunderland borrowed Kenny Stevens' airplane, were you? This is the concourse winning airplane from the Nats. Kenny said, "Fly my airplane." So John Sunders said, "Okay." So he flew it. He did a good job with it. The engine quit. He came in at about 100 miles an hour and grass field, ripped the landing gear right off the damn thing. Man, you got to bleed off some airspeed.
John took my Tucano. I remember he says, "Can I fly that?" He says, "That plane looks like it's flying pretty good." And this is my test bed, my boiler handling, my baby. I says, "Yeah, he's an expert flyer." I says, "Yeah, John, you can fly it." And I released that airplane. He did 2 laps, went straight into a reverse winger, and pulled out about 3 foot off the ground. And I'm going, and he'd never flown the airplane before. He never knew jack anything. And man, my heart was up here. Like me, if I'm going to test fly an airplane, even my own airplanes, I'll do everything up high, and sort of feel it out for the first few flights. But man, I'll tell you, he went right down there as low as he could go and pulled out. He did the whole pattern with it, set it down. He says, "I want a set of plans for that."
Ain't got none.
Then he passed away.
Okay.
I got them downstairs. I found them the other day.
Still damp. Well, I think we're going to do lunch, and after we come back from lunch, we'll get on again and pay for the fuselage. It shouldn't take as long to do the fuselage as it did the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
Might take a little longer.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Let's go, Brandon. See ya.